Hi everyone, it's Laurel O'Sullivan, your astro advocate, here to talk to you about one of the most significant weeks of the year because we have Uranus and Taurus square Saturn in Aquarius. This is going to happen 3 times this year and 2 more times in 2022. So I'm going to break it down for you as always, tell you why this is significant, how you can use it in your own life to connect to your own purpose and power, your deep inner knowing, your intuition, and ultimately connect to that place of self-acceptance and self-love, because that's really how astrology can be used most powerfully as a tool for helping us to connect to ourselves, to our inner knowing, to who we came here to be. So this is intense, and I've actually created another video that's going to go into a lot more detail about that particular energy. In this video, I'm going to walk through each of the 12 signs and tell you where you're going to be experiencing this tension, because it is tension. Every sign is experiencing what's called a 90-degree square, which we experience as inner tension in our life. And the good news is that tension, squares, aspects in astrology are here to help create growth for us. So we're going to feel this energy. It becomes, the square becomes exact on February 17th. And we're going to be experiencing this for the intensity for a couple of weeks. And then we're going to have this energy coming up 2 more times throughout this year. So this is about sudden shifts. It's an invitation to break away from the past and to do things in different ways. Uranus is forcing old structure and Saturn in our life to renew. But unfortunately, Saturn wants to break us free, to liberate us, but it can also create fears. So it might take years to realize some of the awakenings that we're having this year. And for some of you, the changes might happen this year and they might feel really fast and really sudden. It depends on your own individual birth chart. I do provide birth chart consultations and readings. There's a link below if you're interested in that. But this is really about asking ourselves, where have I been participating in patterns in my life that aren't allowing me to grow? And where do I need to make a change? And as I said, I'll be sharing with each sign where they're going to be feeling this in your life. So Uranus is in Taurus until March of 2025, and Saturn is in Aquarius until March of 2023. Both Aquarius and Taurus are fixed signs, which means they are resistant to change. So this year, the fixed signs, which are Aquarius, Taurus, Leo, and Scorpio, are going to be feeling this particular energy even more because it's activating what we call the angular houses in astrology, which is the first house, the fourth house, the seventh, and the 10th. And again, you'll hear that at the end of this video. Because those houses, angular houses, receive and feel energy more intensely. So this is about shaking up our individuality, stepping more firmly into who we are meant to be and asking ourselves, what do I really value? Uranus and Taurus is about our self-worth. It's about where do I value myself? And it can also have to deal with tangible things. Uranus and Taurus has to often do with our possessions, with material things, or principles and our values. You also need to be aware of like sudden accidents with Uranus and Taurus, with Uranus in general. And this can be, we can feel this as an impatience in our life. So I've heard from a lot of people like they feel like they're waiting for some change to happen, or they feel like there's these fears from the past, Saturn in Aquarius, which are, they're being projected into the future. Uranus and Taurus. And so it can feel like a lot of push-pull this year. And it's really hard to be present and to be focused, but that's what we're being called to do, is to try to find that middle ground. So over the next 2 weeks in particular, it might be difficult to concentrate. You might be feeling some buzz. But we're being asked to be flexible and accepting and adaptable. And particularly, again, for those fixed signs, Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius, and Taurus, that don't like to be as flexible and adaptable. So that's an overview. There is another video I created that like I said, that can go into more detail, but I'm going to just jump in now and share for each of the 12 signs where you're going to be experiencing this idea of I'm being called to become more mature and responsible in my life, to make a change to the patterns that aren't giving me the freedom I want anymore. That's Saturn in Aquarius. And it's being spurred on by this realization, wherever Taurus is in your chart, Uranus and Taurus, that I've been undervaluing myself significantly, because Uranus and Taurus wants us to claim our self-worth back. So instead of being afraid of change, can you give yourself permission in these areas of life to imagine what could be? This is about upgrading our lives for the right reasons instead of falling into the trap of being comfortable, insecure, or in our comfort zone or having escapist tendencies. That will no longer suffice. And this energy, like I said, is going to get stronger as the year goes on and more frequent. Okay, so let's start with Aries. Aries, you're going to feel this desire to make a change or create some kind of change in the structures related to your long term goals, your hopes and wishes and dreams, and also your social networks. You're being called to become more mature and to do the work so that you can take responsibility and claim that freedom that you desire. And you're having this realization about how you've been undervaluing yourself when it comes to your self-worth. The second house is the house of self-worth, but it's also our house of resources and possession. So this might be, I've been under realization I've been undervaluing myself in terms of the resources that show up in my life. That's what the second house really represents. It's not where the money comes from, but it's how we spend the money and how we value ourselves is essentially what that second house is about. So that's where you're going to be experiencing this tension. There's something I need to change or upgrade about my long-term goals because I've had this realization that I've been undervaluing myself when it comes to perhaps the resources I'm capable of making or that I have made or that have shown up in my life. For Taurus, the 10th house, your career, your public reputation, you're wanting to make a change, you're feeling limited there. There's a desire to take responsibility, to mature and to grow so that you can have more freedom. And you've had this realization that you've basically been underestimating yourself, undervaluating yourself. The first house is where Uranus is. And that's you, yourself, your identity. So there's a tension and a tug of war, and that realization of undervaluing yourself is spurring some change in your 10th house of career and reputation. For Gemini, you're fundamentally asking yourself the question, there's a lot of self-discovery going on. What is my purpose? What brings me joy? And you're doing some self-exploration. You might be taking courses or classes or higher learning, or just really kind of reevaluating what you brings you joy. And there could be something related to long-term travel here. That's the 9th house. And you've realized that you've been undervaluing yourself when it or holding yourself back when it comes to sort of your subconscious, your hidden fears, things that are in the 12th house. That's where Uranus and Taurus is for you. And these could be old patterns, limiting beliefs, fears, things like that that prevented you from really understanding what's important in your life and what brings you joy. For Cancer, you are wanting to shake things up or create more, change the structures related to shared resources. This could have to do with a partner or a spouse or maybe a business partner or how you get money from others. The 8th house is the house of transformation and change, but also shared resources. And there's something there that's been limiting you or you're feeling restricted. And you realize that you've been undervaluing yourself when it comes to your long-term hopes, wishes, and dreams, and so there's a impetus coming from that realization of undervaluation to make some changes to the structures in your life as it relates to shared resources. For Leo, the 7th house of partnership, one-on-one partnerships, marriage, business, deep, intimate friendships. There's a maturity and a responsibility you're being called to create change there, or you've been feeling restricted in some way from your freedom there, and you're wanting to make some changes to the structures, and you're having this realization that you're kind of bored and need to change and have been undervaluing yourself when it comes to your career. So that's where this tension is playing out between your 7th house of partnership and realizing there's something that needs to change there, but also there's a deep desire or realization of your value, how you've undervalued yourself in your career. So that is ultimately wanting you to become more of who you were meant to be. And for Virgo, the 6th house of our work and our daily habits and our health and our everyday schedule, there's something there where you're being called to take more responsibility, or you are wanting to make some kind of change. It's about claiming freedom for the right reasons for you, Virgo. And you're having these sudden realizations of how have I undervalued my place in the world or understood my place in the world, or what brings me joy, because you're experiencing this tension between that 6th house and the 9th house. And so this may result in you making some changes in your work that bring you more joy, or in your health that align more with who you see yourself to be. Might be making some significant changes to your health and your overall daily life patterns. Libra, you are wanting to create more freedom and changes when it comes to your creative self-expression, your talents. This is the house that also governs children, so it could have something to do with your children. But basically, it's how do I find use my own creativity, my own unique intelligence to bring me joy in life or to express that joy. And this is going to be, as I said, Saturn will be in this house for area of life for 2023, but this year in particular, you're going to getting that spur from that impetus from Uranus in the eighth house, which has to do with shared resources, money from others, where it's going to be saying you've been undervaluing that self. So if you're an entrepreneur, this could be playing out as a desire to create some change in your business and realizing that there's more untapped potential, or there's something more calling you when it comes to shared resources. For Sagittarius, Scorpio, don't want to skip Scorpio. You're feeling kind of restless and the need for change in creating new structures when it comes to your home and family. This could be your literal home, it could be your family of origin. This could play out in terms of moving or making some changes to who's in the home, maybe having new family members. For some, this could be welcoming new family members of sort. And you're feeling this, having this realization of how you've been undervaluing yourself in your house of partnership, of significant one-on-one relationships, and there's a change or a tension between those two that needs to come into greater balance for you, Scorpio. For Sagittarius, the third house of communication is calling you. It's saying, what are the structures? How do you need to change how you show up? Maybe this relates to a significant project that you have if you're self-employed, or even if you're not, how you show up in the workplace, how you communicate with others on a daily basis. There's something there that's wanting to evolve and change and give you greater freedom, and you're experiencing or you're realizing you've been undervaluing yourself in the area of life that has to do with your daily routines, your habits, your health. And so it's that kind of inner push-pull tension between those two areas of life that is calling you, Sagittarius, to move forward and to live your best life and to ask, how can I upgrade my life for the right reasons? Capricorn, the second house of material resources and what we value and how we value ourselves. You're being asked to upgrade that. A lot of Capricorns might work on upgrading their material resources through a lot of hard work that they bring into their lives. And there's a tension, or there's a desire that I've been undervaluing my talents, the fifth house, my talents, my creativity. And so it's working with those two energies internally within us. Like, again, this could play out as somebody who works for themselves and wanting more through their hard work and their hard effort, their talent, they're increasing their material resources. And this, again, is not going to be an overnight thing, but this is about Uranus awakening us to who we want to be, and Saturn, we're willing to put in the hard work to create those structures, to renew those structures in our lives. For Aquarius, this is about a brand new you. This is a new 29-year cycle that's happening for all Aquarians with Saturn in your first house, but it's also about taking responsibility for what you want in your life, for what you really desire, and you might be experiencing or realizing you've been undervaluing yourself when it comes to home and family and how I create the deepest level of emotional security in my life. And there might be some desire to break free from limitations in those areas. And so how do you reconcile and work those two energies together? And this could manifest as moving, or again, like I said, for Scorpio, creating some change in the home or family. And then finally for Pisces, this has to do with Saturn's in your 12th house right now. When Saturn's in our 12th house, it's here to kind of clear out a lot of old karma, a lot of old limiting beliefs and fears that are holding us back. And so that is what's happening on the one hand, because there's a desire to give yourself permission to have more freedom in your life. But there's this tension that you're feeling, or not tension, but you've been undervaluing yourself when it comes to how you show up in your communications and how you show up in your daily life. And so you're working with kind of, how do I reconcile that? Working with those hidden messages, those hidden fears, so that I can kind of be who I was meant to be in terms of how I show up in my life. So I hope that this has been helpful for you and you can begin to see how these energies are playing throughout the year. I'll be coming back and talking more about this throughout the year because this is the significant energy theme for all of us. How can we upgrade our lives? Uranus, again, might force us to confront some fears. Saturn wants us to change some structures so that we can claim responsibility and freedom. Those are also really big themes of this year. I am actually launching a 90-day group coaching program that is going to allow you to look at this energy pattern for the year and determine what is the change that I am ready to make in my life. And I promise you that this will extend beyond this year, that you are going to learn about yourself through your birth chart in such a fundamental way that you're going to work on conquering those limiting beliefs and fears that are holding you back. You're going to understand your own life story in greater detail, and you're going to know how to apply that in the context of what's happening this year. So if you're interested in that, I'm going to include the link below. If you like this video, please like, share, or subscribe. And as always, I actually have a new free gift as well, how to maximize your confidence in 2021, and I will include a link to that below so that you can receive that 4-page guide to how to work with your unique energy for the year and use it as a reference point so that when we have clarity about who we are, we have confidence to show up in the world with even greater force and impact. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.